Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the LTT podcast. My name is Brendan Plays. This is the show where we discuss all the latest in wrestling, sport, TV, you name it. We're going to talk about it here on the podcast. And as you can hear in the background, I love Bobby Roode's new theme song. And if you haven't seen it on Twitter, you got to go and check it out. The glorious bomb that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa have created is hilarious. I fucking love it. So go and check it out. It's just funny as hell. So, yeah, a lot to talk about this week in wrestling. In terms of Raw and Smackdown, not too much, I've got to say. Not a lot really happens. But a few things that have gone down this week for me. So we'll talk about that in a moment. The Olympics are currently on, so I might touch on that one a little later as well. And we'll have a bit of a gaming chat. There's some news and things going on, like a few people who might be coming back, and a few controversial things happened this week, including the whole Conor McGregor talking shit. So we'll touch on a bit of that this week, and so we'll cover all the highlights of Raw. There wasn't not that many highlights on Raw and SmackDown this week, let's be honest. But so we'll get into that this week. And of course, if you want to listen to the podcast somewhere else other than probably YouTube, where most likely you're listening to it right now, you can check it out on Spreaker. That is the home of our show. Also on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and of course you can download it directly to your computer or phone or whatever through iTunes. That's probably the best place to listen to the podcast outside of YouTube. But check them out wherever you can. No, it doesn't matter where you listen to the show. It always supports the show. It always helps us out big time. So thank you to all who continue to support the show. So this week, in terms of myself, I'm going away this weekend. I'm going to the zoo, which is a little different. Haven't been to the zoo in a long time. So girlfriend wants to go to the zoo, so we're going there. Going to the zoo I've never been to, so that'll be fun. So we're also going away for a couple of days, going sightseeing and doing some other shit. So I don't even really know what we're doing, honestly. I just gotta turn up and just do it. That's kind of, I don't know about you guys, but that's just how it really happens in life. Sometimes, you get a girlfriend, or, some of you might be even married. The wife might just organize it, and you just turn up and you just go along with it. And that's kind of what I'm doing this time. The girlfriend's organized it, so I'm just turning up. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna do it. But it should be an exciting weekend. I'm gonna vlog it as well. I think I feel like there might be enough to do maybe 2 vlogs this weekend, which will be a nice little change, a little surprise. You get to see my ugly mug again. Like I said, I would like to do more vlogs, but I just do nothing nothing that resembles any excitement whatsoever. I don't really do anything much at all. And probably the things that I do that might be vlog worthy, generally by myself. And sometimes, and for example, if I'm going to play sport or something, I can't record myself. I can't, have the phone in front of me doing recording right in front of me whilst I'm, playing sports. So some things like that, I can't really, record anyway. So quite often, I can't really vlog too much. So when I can vlog, I'm going to make the most of it. So this weekend, I'll be doing some vlogs, and they'll probably be uploaded throughout next week. So probably early next week, maybe Sunday, Monday, because I won't have internet whilst I'm gone. So I will have some videos that'll be uploaded throughout the weekend. I have to get some videos ready to go before then. So there'll still be content for you guys this weekend. Another cool bit of news this week is that I've been in talks with 2K Games from Australia and New Zealand, and they are going to send me a review copy of W2K17 early. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this or not, but I'm going to anyways, because I like to share everything that I can with you guys. So basically, the last few years has been difficult for me in terms of WWE games in the first couple of weeks, because a lot of the other YouTubers get the game early and have the game a week before it's even out, and they've already got all the videos uploaded, ready to go. Certainly last year, my channel took a big hit because all the career mode stuff, all the game modes had already been analyzed. Everything had already been done from the get-go, before I even had the game. So a week before I even had the freaking game, everything was already covered. So any chance of me trying to capitalize on that, new game momentum, couldn't happen. So this time around, I'm going to get a copy early, which is freaking cool. I'm really, really happy about that. Really excited. So I don't know when I'm going to get the game, how early it will be. But, it'll mean that for example, if I can't upload videos early, if that's not allowed, at least it'll mean I'll have a lot of videos ready to go when the game's out. And if I can't upload videos early, well, it means, you'll get videos from W2K17 earlier, than usual. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Very, very much so looking forward to that. And I think this year I'm going to have a big year on W2K17 because I got a new computer, because I can render my videos so quickly and upload them so quickly, I can just smash them out. So that's what we're going to do later on this year. And we're currently maybe in some talks to doing a bit of a sponsorship deal as well with a company. I'm not going to say the company yet because it's not set in stone, but we might have a cool sponsorship deal coming our way very soon, which will mean that we'll have some video content related to that as well. And that should be pretty exciting. It's something that I have never been a part of, never experienced. So that's something that I'm looking forward to, and it's something that you guys will definitely like, something that you guys will definitely want to see. So that's something that I think you guys will be looking forward to, and hopefully we can set that deal in stone and get that done. But that's in the works at the moment. So that's the few things that's going on with me this week. In terms of wrestling this week, like I said, there's not a hell of a lot going on, but we will touch on it throughout the show. So like I said, I'm going away this weekend, so that should be fun. And hopefully you guys. By the way, like a big thank you to all of you who continue to support the Universe Mode episodes. A bit more views, more likes, and things like that. And you guys have been really enjoying the Universe Mode stuff in the last couple of weeks. So I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you as well. And of course, if you guys do want to support the channel a little bit further, we do have a Patreon page. If you do want to leave a pledge there and continue to support the show further on, that is a great way to do it. And so let's get into the wrestling chat this week. And I thought both shows were just okay. It's hard to pick a winner for me this week because I feel like both of them are pretty level. There wasn't really much that I liked about either that kind of, said, wow, the Smackdown was so great because of this, or Raw was so great because of this. There wasn't really that at all. So I don't really know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to say I did think both shows were just decent. I did enjoy them. And, I don't know. And just by the way as well, WWE's coming to Australia, which is why Smackdown was a little bit depleted this week. And I'm really kind of devastated about it. Just forgot about it. It's back on my mind now. I'm really devastated about it because they're not coming to my city. And a part of my, my new relationship with 2K is I was going to get a free ticket to go. I probably would have had tickets anyways. If they were coming here, I would have been going regardless. So I'm really devastated that I would have had a chance to go, and I would have had a chance to meet the 2K Australian team, and that would have been really, really fun. And it could have been a vlog as well, so that was, it sucks. But for me to go, I would have to, get a ticket, a plane ticket, and, get a hotel. And as it turns out, I'm busy going away this weekend regardless, so yeah, it sucked. But next year, they better come back right here next year. They better, because I really enjoy going. The house shows are fun as hell, even though, it's not Raw, it's not Smackdown, it's not the big shows, but still, they're fun as hell. They're good for a couple of hours, and just fun. And even my girlfriend likes to go, and she doesn't even like wrestling, so she likes it, so that's fun. So, but anyways, getting sidetracked again. So Smackdown this week was a little depleted. Like, for example, Cena, Styles, Apollo Crews. They went on the show because they're here in Australia and New Zealand doing their thing. So Smackdown probably was going to be a little lackluster regardless. I think we all knew Smackdown wasn't going to be at its best. And it definitely did miss some star power. I felt it was a big gap in the show, a big hole in the show without Cena and Styles there. I felt as though they'd been a big reason why SmackDown's been so great over the last couple of weeks. So with not having them there was a major blow. So I probably will have to give it to... I want to say SmackDown really badly, but I think I might have to give it to Raw this week. I think I might have to. Not saying that I didn't like SmackDown, but I just can't really pick a winner, honestly. I don't know. Maybe you guys should help me out in the comments. Who do you think had the best show this week? Because I can't really pick a winner. But, so Raw this week, I thought Roman Reigns actually was probably the MVP of the show. Roman Reigns come out there against Rusev, interrupted the wedding thing, which I thought was good. I liked that segment a lot. I really liked the Reigns and Rusev back and forth. I really like this matchup. I think it's going to be a very good match at the pay-per-view. I'm really liking what I'm seeing there. Roman Reigns, I read some things online. People saying, oh my god, I love what they're doing now with Roman Reigns. I love his new change. I love blah, 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 blah. And it's just thinking to myself, what the fuck has he changed? He hasn't changed a single thing. But now all of a sudden I'm going on YouTube and people are now praising Roman Reigns. People are saying, wow, oh my god, I love Roman Reigns now. It's like, wow, the only reason why you didn't like him is because he was feuding for the world title. So now he changes championships. He goes down to feud for the mid-card belt, and all of a sudden people are now praising him. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, really? I mean, I've been a fan of Roman Reigns. I've said my negative things as well. I like Roman Reigns. I haven't been a huge fan the last 6 months. I think they've kind of misused him a little bit, but I still really like the guy. I still think he's a good choice to be a main event player. And a lot of people thinking, oh, Roman Reigns belongs in the mid-card. I think that's ridiculous. I think Reigns is above the mid-card at this point, and he will always be a main eventer. People thinking that he's getting demoted, he's getting punished for his suspension. I think he's probably getting punished, but is a punishment going from the world title to the US title and still getting to be on SummerSlam? A punishment would be, all right, you're not on SummerSlam. You're not on the card. You're not on the show. You're not getting the ending moment of an episode of Raw. You're not getting a couple segments throughout the show. You know, a punishment, you wouldn't even be on the damn show. You'd be doing house shows and just, not getting to be a part of TV. A punishment for Reigns, quote unquote, is, well, you get a US title match and you get to close out Raw with a big, cool moment. You get to do all this with Rusev. Is that really a punishment? I don't really think so. So whilst, yes, he's not a part of the world title picture, but not everybody can compete for the world title. And we've already seen Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns a number of times. It was a good moment. It was a good time to do something fresh. And they needed to do something fresh. And with Finn Balor there, it was a perfect time to do so. So Roman Reigns can step back a little bit, and he'll get back in the title picture maybe next month or the month after. It won't be long at all. Do I think Reigns is going to win the US title? I don't think so. I still think Rusev's going to hold on to it via a Lana distraction or something along those lines. Something dirty, and that might be his punishment. He gets to lose via a non-clean way. Oh no, so I do like the back and forth. Like I said, I thought Lana looked, Lana looked absolutely gorgeous in that wedding dress. But it is amazing how she can go from being like a 10 out of 10 to a 0 out of 10. Because that cake, it was red, it was just smudged all over her face, throughout her hair, it looked horrible, it was hilarious. So I really liked that. And Lana looked, oh my god, that sucks for Lana. I mean, she had this great wedding last week or whatever, looked great there, looked, hot as hell on Raw, then they just turned it around and made it look atrocious. So, but yeah, that was cool. I liked the segment. Normally the wedding segments are really cheesy, and you always know someone's going to come out. We knew Reigns was going to come out. I thought Rusev was going to get put through the table, powerbomb through the table there, but Lana into the cake was probably a better choice, honestly. I think that worked probably better. But yeah, and then Reigns hit the big spear at the end of the show, which was pretty cool as well. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. But one thing I noticed this week on Raw is from, what are we now, 3 weeks into the brand split? And we're already getting repetitive matches. Like, for example, Sheamus and Cesaro. We're already starting to see the same matches happening already. And that's a bit of a concern for me, because if we're already starting to see repetitive stuff now, I mean, how are we going to be in 3 months' time when they've kind of used up everyone? They've used up everyone, everyone's faced everybody. That's going to be the issue, keeping it fresh. And that is the challenge. And the thing is, they have 3 hours of TV to cover, which means just about every week they've got to have most of these guys in a match to cover the time. They can't really afford to have a portion of their roster just doing promos for the show or not being on the show. They need a majority of their roster on Raw every week, and that's the issue they have with the 3 hours. And I know I've been saying it for years now. 3 hours has got to go, but it's just becoming more prevalent than ever because the repetitive matches are going to happen, and that's something they have to either be good at booking and stop that from happening, or make it so it doesn't feel like it's repetitive, which I don't think they're really good at. So we're already going to be seeing a lot of repetition in WWE I don't think is a good thing. And it's going to be even more noticeable, I think, when the individual pay-per-views come along. So if there's too much of a time gap between pay-per-views, for example, a lot of people saying Raw and SmackDown should have a pay-per-view every couple months. But the thing is with that, like, you have 2 months, you have 8 weeks to build for a feud to a pay-per-view. Those extra few weeks, like I suggested a couple weeks ago, 6 weeks was probably the sweet spot. But I think, like, if you try for 8 weeks, then you're just going to have even more repetitive matches, because you're going to have to give that match away at some point. You're going to have to give it away on TV, and you kind of lose a bit of steam, because you can't have 8 weeks of promos, can't have 8 weeks of, against each other in tag matches, because by the time you get to the actual match, you've kind of already seen the two interact enough, and you kind of lose the value of that pay-per-view match. So that's an issue that they're going to have. So I still don't know what their pay-per-view schedule is going to be looking like, but that's something they have to consider if they are going to go for the 2-month gap between pay-per-views for the brands. I also like Gallows and Anderson this week as the Doctors. Dr. Gallows, Dr. Anderson. I thought that was pretty funny, so I thought that was cool. So, I don't mind the New Day and Gallows and Anderson thing. I think it might be time to have new tag champions. I think Gallows and Anderson, giving them the belts would really help them out, because they've lost a lot of steam since coming in. They started off good, but they haven't really had much momentum since. Giving them the belts might work out pretty well for them. But I can still see the New Day probably winning. I think Big E will come back with a vengeance, maybe next week, maybe at the pay-per-view, I don't know, and really, just unleash and dominate them. I could see that happening. And a weird finish to Raw this week. We had Mick Foley out there with Daniel Bryan, and I don't know what was the plan there. It felt like that was a nothing segment. Like, they built it up all night. Daniel Bryan's going to be on Raw, and I thought as though they're going to try and sort out a deal. Like, all right, we want to have your guys appear on our show, blah, 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 blah. They really did nothing, really did nothing. All that I remember is that Daniel Bryan was, kind of burying Raw, saying how shitty Raw is. That was the only saving grace. And then we had Cesaro and Rusev come out and had an impromptu US title match for some reason. It felt like that was just like, oh shit, there's 5-10 minutes to go still on Raw. We need something. Get someone out there. Let's have a title match. Come on. And yeah, it was just weird. It was just, I don't know. I didn't like it. And then obviously Rusev retains, was surprised, Reigns come out and hit the spear. So it was, the finish of the show was a little weird to me. But like I said, it was an okay Raw. I mean, that was the only real major things I wanted to talk about with this week's Raw, and there was only a few things. So obviously not that much happening this week on Raw. But I still am liking the build to SummerSlam. I still think SummerSlam's going to be a strong card. I still think SummerSlam will be a good show. Lesnar's on Raw again next week, so there's a chance Randy might invade again, so that'll be something to look forward to. But yeah, so Raw was just okay. Just okay this week. For SmackDown. Well, SmackDown, again, 2 hours is a blessing, certainly this week. You can imagine SmackDown trying to fill in an extra hour this week, having a lot of their major stars not being on the show. Just imagine. Ooh, that would be brutal. I don't know how they would do it. But yeah, so this week, I like the brawl to begin SmackDown. Obviously, the promos back and forth between the Wyatts and Ambrose. And then Dolph Ziggler came out and just started, fighting the Wyatts. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a good way to start off SmackDown. Yes, they like to do the promos to start off, and I'm not a huge hater. I ain't a hater. Couple of haters, I'm not a hater to SmackDown starting off with a promo, or Raw for that matter, starting off with promos. I'm not a hater. I'm not against it, but I do like having the brawls or a match to start occasionally as well, spice it up here and there. So the promo to the brawl, I did like that, so that was cool. And sometimes I think having a promo to start is probably the way to go. It kind of sets the scene for the night. You kind of have a back and forth. You set up for the main event of the show from the beginning. If you just have a match, well, what's really behind the match, we don't really know. You just kind of starting off with a match, and you have to try and build to that match with a limited time. So I kind of get sometimes why they do like the promo to begin. So I did like that. But another thing that I noticed this week is the tag team division. Now, we had American Alpha beat up a couple of local guys, and then we had the other teams, the Hype Bros, Ascension, and the Vaudevillains come out and surround the ring. And it just showed that the tag division on SmackDown needs some real work, because the Hype Bros have proved nothing. Have they even had a match on SmackDown yet? I don't even know. Vaudevillains has spent the last 3 months losing. The Ascension has spent the last year or year and a half or whatever losing. So you got two teams who have been jobbers, let's be honest. And then you have the Hype Bros, who probably will be jobbers and would probably be jobbers if they had a bit of time to prove that. So they haven't even had a chance to have a match. So yeah, so three teams that really have zero credibility at all. And then you have the American Alpha. So it's quite clearly obvious who's going to be tag champions when they bring in those belts. But it goes to show they might need to bring up a couple more teams or do something form of some teams, because their tag division is looking really, really weak. Really weak. So yeah, that's an issue that they have. Is Breezango on Raw or SmackDown? I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really seen them too much. Raw has an okay tag division. I mean, they got Enzo and Cass, they got the Club, and they got the New Day. So they have a few tag teams, and the Dudley Boys, who have been jobbing out too, but they can always elevate them again. So they have some decent teams there they can kind of work with. So their tag division is not looking too bad, but SmackDown's looking really rough. Really rough. I mean, come on. Those three teams that come out. I was hoping and expecting a new team to pop out or a new team to debut or something, because there was only three teams surrounding the ring. There was obviously room for one more. Didn't happen, but yeah, it just goes to show the weakness in the tag division there. But the American Alpha clearing house was cool, and yeah, so I definitely like the American Alpha. They're my favorite team right now. They have been for quite some time, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do on SmackDown. And Eva Marie, will she ever wrestle? This week she had the wardrobe malfunction, had the straps go down, and the breasts nearly exposed. Look out. But I think if there's ever a way to have Eva Marie get cheered, that would have been it. If the full-on wardrobe malfunction, the tits are out, you can see everything, that might be the only way for the crowd to ever cheer for Eva Marie, and that might be her only good use. But look, no wrestling again for Eva Marie. She's over the top, got this huge entrance, but you can tell that she just lacks anything. Her facial expressions, I mean, even when she blew the kiss at the end after the match, it was just awkward watching her do that. And yeah, she's still very awkward, still doesn't really know what the fuck she's doing. But they're really trying. I mean, giving her this over-the-top entrance, got the robe, and, she looks the part, but she can't really act the part, which is the issue. So will she ever wrestle? I mean, they might just draw this out for a while. I think they know that she can't. But the thing is, though, when she actually does wrestle, you're kind of hyping her and hyping her and hyping her. If she shits the bed, then she's done. Let's be honest. Because if they had have just had a match from the first week before, the last week where they, she hurt her hamstring, they just had a match there and it was okay, then Eva Marie would be alright. But now they're building it. They're building it and building it and building it. Like, oh my god, when is she ever going to wrestle? When she does wrestle, she better bring it, because people are going to shit all over her if she's not, because they've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now they finally get a match. Well, she better do something great. So that's a bit of a problem for Eva Marie, and I think they might come back to backfire on her, because I don't think building this debut match is the way to go, because she's not exactly, the greatest in the ring. So yeah, so look, Eva Marie, she's getting good heat, which is good, but when she gets in the ring, that's when the question mark will need to be answered. Is she going to live up to the hype? Is she going to be good enough to have a decent match? Can she just do something in the ring? Can she be okay? I mean, she doesn't have to be, Eddie Guerrero in the ring, but can she just be decent? Can she do enough moves to not embarrass herself? If she can, then I think she'll add a little bit to the women's roster, because she gets a reaction. That's something a lot of women can't say that they get. So, Heath Slater, still the hottest free agent in the world, and he'll remain that way. I mean, he could have had a match. He could have had a contract, I should say. He had a match against Rhino. He lost, no surprise. And then, obviously, Daniel Bryan was like, you know what, I'm going to give this guy a contract. And then Heath Slater come in, and he was talking shit, and he, fucked up. He could have had a contract, but he got angry and stormed out. So, I like what they're doing with this. I always had my, doubts when they first started the storyline, but I'm liking it. I think they're really developing it nicely. Don't know what the payoff is going to be, and is he ever going to get a contract? What's the deal? But yeah, so I've even heard rumors of him maybe going to work independent shows to kind of prolong the storyline, which I think would be funny and cool. So I like Heath Slater. He's been impressing me. He's been entertaining me, and I think having him on SmackDown would probably be the way to go. I think he would get a little bit more exposure, a little bit more airtime, and I think he's had a bit more time on SmackDown compared to Raw, hasn't he? So I think SmackDown would probably be a good fit for him. And finally on SmackDown, the last thing I want to talk about this week was Carmella. Now, I put up a tweet saying I think Carmella's doing awful. I think she's really lacking. She's struggling. Some people fired back at me saying, you're wrong. She's doing great. She was awesome in NXT. And I get that. I get that she was pretty good in NXT. And I watched her in NXT a couple of weeks before she came to SmackDown and before the draft. And I thought, you know what? She's not doing too bad. She's going okay. Not liking the promo ability, but I don't know what it is on SmackDown. I think it might be the nerves, the pressure. I don't know what it is, but she is really struggling. And you can see it. The crowd are not reacting at all to her. You just feel like, man, she needs to be with Enzo and Cass right now. I mean, if they had paired her up with those guys, she'd be doing fantastic. But her on her own, I think she's not quite ready yet. I just don't think she's right there yet. And it's surprising, I guess, because the whole time, the reason why they didn't bring her up to begin with is because they felt as though, well, she needs some more time developmental to get ready and, get better. So 3 months later they bring her up and now she's thrown into the wolves and she's struggling. So obviously she didn't have enough time down as a singles competitor in NXT. I thought she was even going to get maybe a run at the belt, or it was a chance, or have some high-profile matches there, but that didn't happen. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting what they're going to do with Carmella, but I think right now they might need to tone it back a little bit, remove the promo for a while, just have her in the ring wrestle and try and work on that and get that down packed, get over a little bit with her matches and perform well, then start to introduce the promos again, because at the moment her promo ability is really holding her back, and I don't think it's good for her at all at the moment. I think she just needs to come out there and just wrestle. But, this is just my opinion. This is what I think. I'm not the problem solver. I'm not always right. I might never ever be right. So that's the thing. A lot of people kind of criticize or, fire back, and that's good. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and that's what my opinion is. So, yeah, so that's the SmackDown talk this week. Like I said, not a lot really going on with SmackDown Raw this week. It was a pretty dull shows. Like I said, I'm really disappointed I didn't get to go to the house show this weekend for WWE Live. I was really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it this year. But what they do is they alternate cities for me. So they go to Perth, they go to Adelaide, they go to Brisbane, they go to Sydney, they go to Melbourne. They kind of alternate. Melbourne and Sydney always get one every year. Then they alternate between the other cities. And they also go to Auckland and New Zealand as well. So, yeah, so it was a little disappointing. I would have liked to have seen them. And I think they were even doing some meetups as well. So maybe I could have even went to a meetup in the city if they had came. But they didn't come. So maybe next year. Maybe next year or the year after. I don't even know. Hopefully soon. But yeah, that's the wrestling chat this week in terms of SmackDown and Raw. But we do have some other little bits of news. Now, I have some news about the return of someone. Now, we know Nikki Bella is training to come back. We know she's on her way back. But did you know one of the greatest women, the greatest divas of all time, she is training? She's training to come back. She's been gone for a while, but Rosa Mendes is coming back. That's right. Rosa Mendes. What a wrestler she is. You know, someone who's won so many matches, you know, performed so many classics. Who the fuck am I kidding? Rosa Mendes. I mean, come on, really? Are we bringing her back? Yes, I think this is just a way to kind of like save face a bit. She's been gone with the pregnancy thing. She's now, you know, had the kid. She's done all that. Now she's trying to get back in the ring. It would be a bad look for WWE if they got rid of her after the birth, because, you know, you can't even, I don't even think you can do that. In Australia, that's illegal to do that, I think. You can get in real shit for doing that. So, I think Rosa Mendes, look, will she do much? I don't think so. Will she be a valet? I don't think so. I think they're going to bring her in the ring, but I don't think she's going to be around for that much longer. I think the next round of talent cuts, I think you'll find Rosa Mendes might be gone once they're cooled off a little bit on the baby thing. But they're bringing her back. Well, she wants to come back, so she's trying to get back in the ring. I think she needs probably a bit more training, to be honest. But, yeah, she's up there in age now, and she's just never been good. She just has sucked for the get-go, and she's been in the company for a long time now. Now, I get it, she was a valet for the longest time, and then she's tried to transition into the ring, but, you know, she just doesn't have it. She's probably worse than Eva Marie, let's be honest, so, yeah, not really looking forward to her return, but, hey, it's gonna happen, and you guys better like it, because they probably will have her, maybe they'll have Eva Marie and Rosa Mendes form a tag team. Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't that be great? You know, I think she's still on the Total Divas show. I don't even know. I haven't even heard much about Total Divas. I've heard more about Total Bellas and Total Divas. Have they cancelled Total Divas? I think they're still doing it. I don't know. But I do watch it. I'm not going to lie. I do watch it. And, you know, it's okay. The last few seasons have been pretty crappy, let's be honest. The first couple seasons was not too bad. You know, it's good to get a bit of an insight. And I probably will watch the Total Bellas show because, you know, from the trailer, you can see that John Cena's a fucking weirdo, and, you know, you can't really do anything in his house without getting in trouble. It looks like it's going to be a train wreck, so I'll watch that. But, yeah, so Rosa Mendes is coming back. The other thing this week that was probably the most controversial thing that happened this week was Conor McGregor basically saying that the WWE are pussies. If you're a wrestler, you're basically a pussy. I didn't like that. You know, Conor McGregor, he's a shit talker. He talks smack to hype his matches and or fights or whatever you call them. Yeah, I just didn't like that. I thought that was, you know, a little bit slack. A lot of people saying, oh, it could be a storyline, might be a work, you know, might bring him in to do something in the company down the line. If that's the case, then whatever. But I don't think they are. I mean, if it was a work, then I just don't think, you know, it'd be happening now. I don't see Conor McGregor coming in anytime soon. You know, if it was a work, he might do it around Royal Rumble time, if he's going to come in for WrestleMania or something like that. So I don't think it's a work. I think it's just a shoot, and I think Conor McGregor just, for some reason, wanted to talk crap. I think it's a little unfair. Look, this is the thing, like, fighters, look, you're trained in MMA. You're a professionally trained fighter. Wrestlers, they're professionally trained in professional wrestling. You know, they're trained pro wrestlers. I'm sure a lot of these pro wrestlers, if they trained in MMA, they'd give you a run for your money. You know, Conor McGregor's not the biggest dude, and if someone, you know, for example, Brock Lesnar matched him against Conor McGregor, I think Brock Lesnar would destroy him. So, a lot of these wrestlers who are big in size, if they actually had proper MMA training, then I'm sure they could beat up Conor McGregor. So, really calling them pussies, I mean, I don't think wrestlers are pussies. I mean, here's the thing, UFC fighters, they fight, once, twice a year, 3 times, rarely. You know, these guys, most of the time they fight, and then they have 6 months off. And then they come back for another fight. And half the time the fights get cancelled or get moved around. I mean, look at McGregor. He was meant to fight at 200. Now he's here at 202, talking crap. I mean, come on, really? I mean, if anyone's really a pussy, it's probably McGregor. Didn't fight at 200, you know, kind of delaying the fight and whatever. And, I mean, let's be honest. Wrestlers, they wrestle, 300 days a year or whatever it is. Something ridiculous like that. They have all these matches that they have to do. They put their body on the line every single night. You know, can you really say they're pussies? Yes, it's fake punches and fake kicks, as Ryback put it in his video this week. We'll talk more about that later. But, yeah, so whatever. But, like, you can't really fake getting thrown off the top of the rope by a suplex. Yes, you know, it might not hurt that much on the ring, but, you know, I don't know. But, yeah, you can't really deny that wrestlers are not pussies. I mean, let's be honest. So, I didn't like what he said. I've never been a fan of McGregor to begin with. I think I tried to buy into the hype. I tried to read up about him when he had his fight with Diaz and all the hype around that. So I didn't really know much about him. So I tried to get into him, and I was trying to support him. I even put money on him to win that fight, and he lost. He got beat. So I was like, well, fuck this guy then. You know, like, so you talk all this shit, you can't back it up. That's what I don't like. If you talk shit, you back it up, fair enough. But if you talk shit and you lose, and that's when you got a problem. And I think Diaz will probably beat him again at 202. And if he gets beat again, McGregor, that might be the end of him. That's the thing with McGregor. His career is on the line. His legacy is on the line, I think. The thing with UFC is, like, you can lose a fight and it's all over. Like, if you've been on a huge winning streak, you're dominating, you lose a fight. Look at Ronda Rousey. She was the hottest thing in the world a year ago. Then she got beat. Haven't heard a single thing about her since. So McGregor, he's been called off immensely as well. So if he loses this fight again, that might really be the end of him. You know, I know he's made his money, but really, instead of coming out there and talking shit, I think you should be starting to focus on your fight and trying to win that fight, because I think your career and your legacy is up for grabs, and you need to win that fight. So I think McGregor has got to get his head out of his ass and make sure that he beats Diaz. That's just my opinion. So I think what he said was wrong, and all the wrestlers coming out there, Ric Flair coming out there, oh, you match up against these guys, they'll beat you, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys in the WWE that potentially could give McGregor a run for his money. I mean, Kurt Angle, his prime, would probably just wrestle McGregor to the ground and beat him right there. I think Kurt Angle would probably, you know, beat him. Someone like a Chad Gable, great wrestler as well, could give him a run for his money. You know, and obviously Brock Lesnar. There's plenty of guys that could give, you know, McGregor a run for his money. But the thing is, these wrestlers are, you know, twice the size of McGregor, so it would never actually happen. But, yeah, so, yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting, his thoughts. But, like I said, I don't really tend to agree with it too much. I have a lot of respect for wrestlers. That's the thing. Like, yes, I'm a big wrestling fan, but I do have a lot of respect for wrestlers and what they do. You know, you see the documentaries, you see the behind the scenes, and what they go through, you gotta respect them, and I definitely do. Other bit of news, and a bit of rumours going around. Now, let's not take this one too serious a bit. Apparently, Sheamus isn't too happy with his push. Feels as though... Actually, no, I think this actually was an interview. I think he feels as though he was the world champion, 7 months ago, or the beginning of the year, or whatever, last year. End of last year. And now he's losing every week. And he's wondering why. You know, I should be better than this. And honestly, Sheamus, I don't think you should be. I think you should be lucky that you got that world title run. It was a world title run that wasn't deserved. The crowd hated you. And I honestly thought, oh my god, how the hell am I going to watch Raw anymore with Sheamus as the champion? When Reigns beat Sheamus for the title, I was very, very happy. You know, I thought that was awesome. Very, very happy. Thank God Sheamus is no longer champion. Thank goodness. Because Sheamus sucks as champion. Sheamus in the mid-card... I can deal with it. He puts on a decent match here and there. Not great matches, but, you know, he's a good opponent for a number of these guys. You know, for example, Cesaro. I didn't really watch their match this week on Raw. But I don't think Sheamus is a top guy. I think Sheamus is good in the upper mid-card. And I think that's where he belongs. He's gotten, 4 or 5 title runs throughout his career. Now, do you really believe Sheamus should be a 5-time world champion? I don't think so. So, that's very questionable to me. So, I don't think Sheamus deserves to be a world champion again. I think he should be lucky that he got that title. Didn't have much momentum. Doesn't get a real big crowd reaction at all. Doesn't get too much heat. So, I don't think Sheamus should be complaining too much. I think he was just complaining that it was really late in the draft as well. So, whatever. The Steve Austin podcast with Dean Ambrose. A lot of talk about that this week as well. How awkward it was. And Dean Ambrose is, his type of replies. Austin looking pretty frustrated, trying to get something out of Ambrose. Ambrose is just too laid back for Austin, and Austin's trying to bring the intensity and trying to fire Ambrose up, and Ambrose is just not having any of it. So it was a really weird podcast. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's just a really strange one. That being said, it was okay. I didn't mind it. Austin really trying to dig into Ambrose's childhood and get him to talk about that. And obviously Ambrose didn't want to. You could tell that he wasn't real keen on talking about it. So that was quite an interesting dynamic there as well. So, yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. But it was a good one. I didn't mind it. Ambrose, the main thing about it, the podcast, was Ambrose calling Brock Lesnar lazy. And Ambrose coming out and saying that basically Brock Lesnar didn't really want to do much at WrestleMania in their shithouse match. We all knew that match at WrestleMania sucked. And it could have been great. Ambrose thought it was going to be great. He had all these ideas to make it great. And Brock Lesnar didn't want to do any of it. So, there you go. Brock Lesnar is to blame for that WrestleMania match, I guess. And that's not a real big surprise. So Ambrose wanted to bring it. And Brock Lesnar wasn't really interested in doing it. Maybe Lesnar wasn't really interested in wrestling Ambrose. Maybe Lesnar didn't want to do anything too risky because he had the plans to go back to UFC or something like that. Didn't want to risk an injury or something. I don't know. But, yeah, Lesnar just didn't really care that much. So that was interesting. And Ambrose calling him out saying he's lazy. I don't think he'll get punished or anything like that. I mean, just speaking his opinion. So you'd be pretty unlucky to get punished for that, wouldn't you? The other thing this week as well, Ryback left WWE. Officially has gone from WWE. He did a Periscope on, I think it was yesterday, where he basically was dropping a lot of F-bombs, saying that, you know, it wasn't about money or something like that, which is why he left. He's saying that Vince McMahon made him lose the singlet. Ryback's going to bring back the singlet. Ryback said that he's still going to be wrestling. He even maybe said, "Oh, you never know, I might go into MMA one day." I doubt it. But yeah, I like Ryback. Always have from the moment he debuted as Ryback. The Skip Sheffield thing, I wasn't really around for that. I didn't watch WWE back then. Thank God. But yeah, so I liked Ryback from the get-go. I think he could have been something. I think his booking was horrendous throughout his entire career. Could have been a main event player. Really could have been. And Ryback right now on this brand split could have been a really good asset, certainly for a Smackdown, I think. I think Ryback could have been a good asset right there. I think he would have been a good fit. Unfortunately, you know, just like Sandow, just like Cody Rhodes, Ryback's gone as well. So unfortunately, that won't happen. So where will Ryback end up? I don't know. I think Japan would be a good fit. TNA, maybe. Ring of Honor, maybe. Or maybe just working the independents, just doing the rounds, just doing whoever's going to book him will get him. So we'll see. But I wish Ryback all the best, and I'll keep tabs on him. I'll keep an eye on him. Speaking of TNA, the rumor is that Damien Sandow's actually joined TNA. So Sandow's coming to TNA. I read something on Rolling Stone today that there's going to be a big announcement about a free agent signing with TNA, and Sandow responded to it saying, I don't know, ready to go or something like that. Time to make an impact or something like that. I don't know. So I think Sandow is probably a done deal coming to TNA. That's a good pickup for TNA, really is. I haven't watched TNA in a long time. I watched, obviously, the Brother Nero stuff, but other than that, nothing at all. But Sandow there, well, who knows? I don't think he's going to make a big splash, but I think it'll certainly enhance the product. Will he get a main event push? I think he will. I think he'll get a big push. He's ultra talented. On the mic, he's very gifted. He's fantastic. A great talker. I don't know what gimmick he'll come in as. Maybe he'll do the intellectual gimmick. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he'll just be Damien Sandow. Whatever. Or Aaron Stevens or whatever it is. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's Sandow and TNA. It still gives him some exposure. I don't know what else he's been really doing. He's done some Global Force shows. Done some other independent shows. So he hasn't really done all that much, but him going to TNA will just kind of prolong his career a little bit, give him something to do, and, you know, keep eyes on him a little bit. I don't think Japan would be that great of a fit for Sandow, honestly. I think Cody Rhodes in Japan would be great, and, for example, the Bullet Club over there would be great. I don't think Sandow would really fit in that well, because he's more of an entertainer, in my opinion. So, obviously, trying to be on the mic, cutting promos, Japanese fans aren't going to, know what the fuck he's talking about. So I think TNA probably is the right choice for Damien Sandow, quite honestly. I mean, Drew Galloway's done okay there, so probably Sandow may have seen that and maybe thought, all right, well, let's give it a go. So that's pretty much the wrestling chat for this week. Not a lot really happened this week. There's a few other outside news, but yeah, not much for Raw and SmackDown. Big thing that's been going on this week, and probably a reason why Raw and SmackDown was a bit dull this week, is the Olympics. The Olympics has started, and we're kind of maybe halfway through the week, or nearly through the first week, I believe, something like that. So the Olympics are on. Australia's doing okay. We had the basketball match against the USA today, and that was fun. Australia really gave them a run for their money, didn't they? USA still won. We always knew USA were going to win, but I just wanted Australia to kind of keep it within 10 or so, and they did. It was a really interesting game. I didn't get to catch it, but I saw some of the highlights, and Australia did pretty good. Paddy Mills put up 30. I think Australia's going to be pretty good at basketball in the Olympics in the future. I think next Olympics, look out. Ben Simmons there, Thonmaker as well. I think they might, have a pretty decent team to contend with. So I'm looking forward to the future. I think Australia could be a force to be reckoned with. And I don't think they're going to win a gold medal, but maybe a bronze, maybe even a silver. Who knows? But this year, maybe a bronze for them as well. Maybe there is a chance that they might be able to sneak a bronze. Who knows? But they're playing pretty good basketball, so I'm liking what I'm seeing. Australia didn't win the rugby sevens, which is disappointing. We won the women's rugby sevens, which was pretty cool. And I like the rugby sevens in the Olympics. I think it's a good fit. I think rugby sevens is very entertaining. It's fast-paced, quick, 20-minute game, 14, 15-minute game, actually, done and out. And I think that's perfect for the Olympics, so you can kind of get through it quickly. I would like to see, personally, being a major cricket fan, I would love to see 2020 cricket in the Olympics. Obviously, 2020 cricket takes about 3 hours to complete, so you probably get through, 2 or 3 games a day, for example, on one field. But I think that would be really good for the sport as well, for cricket. Obviously, cricket, not much of a major international presence. Only really 10, 15 countries really play it. So it's something they could do to kind of expand the game a bit. But, so I'm liking the Olympics. Obviously, right now it's the swimming. And the swimming's okay. Obviously, Michael Phelps is an absolute beast, just dominating again. He's just the GOAT, isn't he? He's just great. I always liked Ian Thorpe and the Aussies. Obviously, I'm Australian. I love the Australian athletes, but you have to say Phelps is the best. He's the man. But, so I'm liking the Olympics. The swimming for me is a little bit boring. I think the athletics might be a little bit more interesting. I like the running races, like the 100, the 200. I like those ones. The hurdles are interesting. The discus and the shot put and all that, I think that's pretty interesting as well. So the athletics will probably be good. But I'm not a big Olympic watcher, but they are starting to bring in some sports that I kind of would be interested in. Like, for example, the tennis. Like I said, I think there's even football, soccer, so that's cool. So they are starting to bring in some more sports that I think are the way to go. More, popular sports. The Olympics has always been about these, athletics and swimming, and now even like ping pong and all that crap. All these weird sports that no one really sees much. Handball, water polo, these sports that you never really see on TV, which is cool for the Olympics. You get to see some different sports, but also mixing it in with some more popular sports, I think, is the way to go as well. So, so the Olympics this year has not been too bad. And finally, before we get into our questions, No Man's Sky. Now, I haven't really talked too much about gaming as of late because I've been in a gaming rut. I turn on my PS4, I look at it, and I have no game, no desire that I want to play. I don't know what the hell to do. But I've been playing No Man's Sky, and I can't say it's the game that I'm looking for. It's a very different game. If you are thinking about picking it up, now, listen to me. This is basically what you do. You're on a planet, you got your ship, you basically have to collect resources, and to upgrade your ship, upgrade your suit, and, there's a few different animals on the planet that you can kill, explore, discover, and then basically you just go ahead and keep grinding, keep collecting stuff, keep discovering things. You learn new words to try and learn the language. It's an interesting one. I don't know really how to feel about it. The thing is, it sounds pretty boring, and to most people it will be very boring, but for some reason, I keep wanting to play it for some reason. I don't know why, but I keep wanting to play it, so I'm not sure. My friend bought it for me, so I didn't have to make the big decision. I would not have bought it, honestly. It doesn't look like... I didn't even know what the hell to do. I didn't even know what it was about. I didn't get the game. I still really don't get the game. I don't think there's a story. I don't really know what the purpose is, other than just exploring, but it's a game where you can just kind of chill back and maybe like a bit like a, not quite like a Minecraft, but like in terms of creating things, but it's like a, collecting resources a bit like that as well, and you kind of explore at your own pace, just do what you want. So yeah, it's a different one. It's a different game, something different on the market, which is good. Can't say it's my preference, but that's my little review on it. I know there hasn't been a lot of reviews out, so if you are thinking about getting it, if you're looking for fast-paced, action-packed, you're not going to get it for this. You're looking for an amazing storyline, you're not going to get it with this. But if you're looking just to explore, just kind of relaxing, chill-back game, just kind of explore some planets, collect stuff, drive around a cool ship, that's probably what you're going to get out of this game. Alright, so we have some questions to get into this week, as always, so let's get straight into them.
Hello, Brendan Plays. This is Boy123 Jim. I'm here to ask you a question from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. If you were to create a WWE Championship title, what would you call it and how would you present it?
Well, I'm not the most creative person in the world, but I do like the WWE Championship and I like the World Heavyweight Championship. I've always been a fan of that. I guess that's what I was accustomed to when I first started watching. So I've been a fan of that, and I think a championship belt, I wouldn't copy the WCW Big Gold Belt again, but I think something along those lines is cool. Like the Big W, I don't mind that for the W title they've got now, but if I was going to create a new one, I would want something similar to that beautiful design like the Big Gold Belt. Not, like I said, I wouldn't do that again, but obviously something down those lines. I can't give you a full, what I would do, because I'm not very creative at all. That's not my job, but I would probably just call, the W title and the W Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. That's what I like. That's, I guess, what I know, and I think it works. So the Universal title, yeah, it's got to grow on me. It really has to grow on me, and I wonder what design they're going to do there. I have really no idea. We haven't really heard too much about it yet. I thought they might have kind of brought the belt out. Maybe they're just saving it for the pay-per-view, which probably would be a good idea to actually save the pay-per-view. But yeah, so I would just probably go W title and World Heavyweight title and go something similar to the Big Gold Belt design again. And I know I'm not really creative answer, sorry, but I just can't think of how I would really honestly do it. So other questions this week. And by the way, that was a good voicemail. We had some weird ones this week. So if you do want to leave a voicemail, go to the website, brendanplays.com, the big green button on the right-hand side of the page on the sidebar. Click on that, and you can leave a voicemail. Leave a voicemail about anything. Just ask me a question for the show, whatever you want. And if it's good, if I can understand what you're saying, I can understand your question, I will use it. So we don't get too many voicemails, so I probably just need to give you guys a reminder that you can keep leaving the voicemails. This one's from Adam O'Dallas. What do you think of Shelton Benjamin not returning to WWE due to an injury, and will you still add him to your universe mode? Now, the reason why I didn't talk about Shelton Benjamin earlier in the show is because I knew that this question was coming, so I wanted to kind of save it for the end. Shelton Benjamin not returning sucks. It really does. Was really looking forward to seeing him on Smackdown. I think he was going to be a good part of the mid-card. I think he had a good potential to kind of elevate the mid-card a bit, because it was really looking a bit, a bit weak. It really lacked some star power. So bringing back Shelton Benjamin was exciting. So it really sucks. I think they really need to bring someone else in. I think a John Morrison would be a perfect addition if they could get him back. I know they're thinking about Kurt Hawkins, but I think Jinder Mahal was even on Raw this week. I mean, what a return that was, So if they bring back Kurt Hawkins, he'll be in the same boat, I think. So bringing back some names like that isn't going to help. They need to bring back some star power. So John Morrison, who's still young enough to be a star, they could really still push him to the top again if they wanted to. So they might need to bring someone in with some credibility to replace him. Or, like I said, someone from NXT. Glorious Bobby Roode. Why not? Austin Aries, Samoa Joe. Will I still add him to your universe mode? I was definitely going to add him. I actually was planning on adding him probably the next couple weeks, actually. I was really going to add him very soon. That was the plan. But now that he's injured, undecided. I think I might hold off on that and kind of reevaluate and think about it. My universe mode, like my WWE 2K16, I've used, I don't know if any of you guys have this problem, but I've used all the available logo slots. So 1,000 slots you get for logos. So now I have to delete heaps of them to be able to use logos again. and I deleted, I reckon, at least 30, and I still can't download anyone else. I was trying to download the new Roman Reigns attire, and I can't do that, so I don't even know if I'm going to be able to download any new wrestlers, and if I'm going to be able to download any new attires and things like that for the next couple months, so that's going to be really fucking annoying, so I'm not happy about that at all. So that's pissing me off, but yeah, so I'm decided if I'm going to add him to Universe Mode yet. Maybe when I get the new game, I'll think about it. Thomas Speller, when do you think Shane and Stephanie McMahon will come off TV and let their commissioners run the show? Yeah, it felt a little bit weird, I thought, on Smackdown. I kind of noticed it this week that every time Daniel Bryan has to make a decision, Shane McMahon's there. I get it, they're a team, but sometimes I think it'd be good just to let Bryan do things on his own, let Mick Foley do things on his own. Mick Foley's done a little bit more compared to Daniel Bryan. Shane McMahon's always been there along the way. So I think it's an interesting point. I think eventually they're going to have to try and break the two apart and kind of have the commissioners run the show. So it's probably going to be a while. I think Stephanie and Shane, certainly more Stephanie, wants to be on TV. I think Shane McMahon, I can see him taking a bit more of a step back and him showing up every now and then, being more of a surprise, a bit more special when he's on the show. Whereas I believe Stephanie, I could see her being on every week for the next year. So I can see that happening. I still think the Mick Foley Stephanie combination isn't working that well, but I think Bryan and Shane's working pretty good. I like that combination, but I still think, that the commissioners do a little bit more. They don't have to have the what are they, COOs or whatever, behind their backs all the time. Thomas Speller, what are your thoughts on smoking? Do you smoke? No, I don't smoke. Don't like it. Never will. That's cigarettes. I don't smoke the other shit either. I've never done any of that crap. So I'm not into the whole drug scene. My drug is what I drink alcohol once every couple months. That's about it. I like drinking beer. Who doesn't like beer? I mean, beer's good, but I'm not a big fan of smoking and all that crap. Another one from Thomas. Would you have Dana Brooke beat Sasha Banks to build her up as a future competitor? No. The thing is, Sasha Banks, I don't think has really been built up enough herself to where if she started losing a bit, it would be okay. If she started losing a bit, you could see her easily drop back to a Becky Lynch level. You remember Becky Lynch doing pretty good, and she started losing, and then she lost all the momentum, and now she's nowhere near the top of the division again. So Sasha Banks needs to keep winning, and she needs to beat someone like Dana Brooke. You could lose to Charlotte, that's your true competitor, but you should be focusing on establishing Sasha Banks as the top competitor. Dana Brooke is not anywhere near the top of the division yet, and nor should she be. She's not ready for that, so she'll have her time later. So for now, you need to focus on using Dana Brooke as someone to give Sasha Banks a competitive match, but at the end of the day, Sasha Banks wins. Because Sasha Banks, for Dana Brooke is, Charlotte's, sidekick, it's a, manager or whatever, her partner. So Dana Brooke should be the one taking the pins all the time, whereas she protects Charlotte. And Sasha Banks, to get back at Charlotte, you beat Dana Brooke to do so, rather than the former champion Charlotte. Roy the Boy, which of the two has the most potential, Gargano or Ciampa? Now, I haven't seen the Cruiserweight Classic match yet. I heard it was really good, so that's something I'll do probably next week. I haven't watched the Cruiserweight Classic in a bit, so I need to catch up on that. But when I look at the two, without knowing anything about them, I always felt as though Gargano was the bigger name. Because I've heard of Johnny Gargano, I never heard of Ciampa. So I always felt as though Gargano was going to be the bigger name between the two. And I think he won the Cruiserweight Classic match as well. So I think Gargano might have the bigger future. I don't know. I haven't really seen too much of them. I've seen a little bit of them lately in NXT. And they're not too bad. So we'll see. But like I said, just from initial reactions, I always thought Johnny was the one, rather than Tommaso. Larry Williams, what are your thoughts on having the Cruiserweight division on Raw? Do you think it's a good way to fill in the third hour of the show? Yes, absolutely. We don't know much about the Cruiserweight division yet. They've announced it, but they haven't really laid any groundwork yet. We don't know who's going to be a part of it. We don't know if they're going to be bringing up any new names for it. We don't really know much about it at all. We don't know if they're going to bring in a title for it. We don't really know anything. So I don't know. I don't know much about it. I mean, not much really to say, but I think it is a good way to fill in another hour of the show. Maybe the opening hour, like they used to do for Nitro, can be dedicated to the Cruiserweights, or maybe the second hour. Maybe the second hour would probably be better. in terms of the current stage. But I can't even see them filling an hour of the Cruiserweights. I could see them maybe filling in 1, maybe 2 matches of the show. But I think they'll definitely add a little bit more excitement. You have some entertaining, high-flying matches on the show. That's good for the show. I think it will definitely enhance Raw. And something that will be a bit fresh, certainly if they bring in some of these Cruiserweight Classic guys, some NXT guys. What I would do is I would have people not necessarily on Raw. These Cruiserweight Classic guys, I'd keep them on NXT, but for Cruiserweight matches, I'd bring them up, have them compete, and have different Cruiserweights appear all the time, and rotate them in and out, and maybe you have a select few that's on all the time as you staple of the division, but then you bring in a few from NXT, they get these opportunities for these matches, and they might not win, maybe they do win, but you kind of rotate guys in and out and keep things fresh. That's at least how I would do it. And Roy the Boy, do you think that Daniel Bryan should replace JBL and David Otunga on SmackDown's commentary team? Well, they obviously have this real fetish, a real love for 3-man commentary teams. So they love the 3-man teams. So they wouldn't be replacing both Otunga and JBL. But I do like Bryan in the GM commissioner role. I like that. And I know for me, Bryan commentating on the Cruiserweight Classic was perfect, because that's the type of wrestling that Daniel Bryan likes. He loves that. Him commentating on SmackDown, well, maybe he'll be a little bit disengaged there. Maybe it's not really his style. And, this is more entertainment, whereas the Cruiserweight Classic is straight up wrestling, just putting on, great wrestling matches. That's more Daniel Bryan. So I don't think Daniel Bryan would be a good fit for the SmackDown commentary team. I think he's a good fit, though, as the commissioner. I like that. And I like him going on talking smack on after SmackDown every week and talking shit. I think it's cool. So I like that. So, I'm a fan. And I like Bryan in this role. So I would keep him there. Why change what works, Alrighty, guys. That will do it for this week's edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays. I like to, LTT. I'm still adjusting to the new name. Let's Talk Thursdays. New day. But that's it for the podcast this week, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave a like on this episode. If you haven't already, go check us out on Stitcher, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, you name it, check us out there. Follow me on Twitter at BrendanPlays. My Twitter's actually going pretty good. We're actually getting some more followers, a little bit regular than what we normally would. And we are approaching 1,000 likes on Facebook. So if you can, like us on Facebook, help us get 1,000 likes. I think we're on 888. So we are certainly on our way there. So continue to support the show, guys, however you can. Support us on Patreon if you can as well. And plenty of good content coming our way. Some vlogs, like I said. And we're getting closer and closer to Survivor Series. So plenty of awesome stuff coming your way soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition. And I'll see you all next week.